Hello, and welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. That's right. Since the last episode, I found out his name is pronounced Tyrion Cuthbert, not Cuthbert, so I'm gonna go with that from now on. But last time we continued with the court proceedings, where we disproved Orem and proved that, this may or may not be her. There are a lot of inconsistencies. So we went on with the next day of investigating, and we talked to her mom, Celeste's mom. We found out more about the father, who really hated mages, but tried to make up with her daughter after he kind of went on a fit of rage and just kind of like lashed out at her. And we helped Celeste resolve her, for lack of better words, daddy issues. And now we're back in court. Don't know how much longer this will take, but I want to try to play to the end of this first case because it shouldn't take too much longer. But let's get going. All right, it's time. Hello, Cuthbert. I'm still not used to saying it. Hello, Cuthbert. Oh, hi, Miss Tamora. You're a lot less jumpy than you were yesterday. I'm glad to see that you're finally getting used to things. So, what did you find in your investigation? You tell Miss Tamora about everything you've learned over your investigation. There aren't a lot of clues to point what actually happened. Yeah, I know a lot of details about the crime scene, but nothing about the crime itself. This means that I'll have to rely solely on pointing out contradictions in the witness's testimony. Being reactive to the prosecution's moves is a valid strategy. Honestly, I think it was a miracle that you got the commander to cooperate with you at all. Right, you almost forgot. Commander White appears to really have it out for Miss Tamora. Actually, I want to ask about that. Did something happen between you and Commander White? Miss McCoy, please proceed to the courtroom with your counsel. Let's go, Tyrion. The trial's about to start. You should go. The judge is waiting. Right. Another secret left buried between you two. Blah, 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 blah. Oh man, he swings that gavel with such vigor. Court will now resume for the trial of Celeste McCoy. Let us oh my god, you see these marks on like the desk? I keep thinking it's me accidentally spitting on my monitor. Just little drops, but no, it's just marks on the desk. Let us review the proceedings from yesterday. Yesterday, the defense presented some shocking oversights made during the investigation. Yes, I personally saw to it that the investigation was conducted properly this time. I see. I suppose that puts my mind at ease. At yesterday's trial, we found an inconsistency between the crime scene photo and the autopsy report. Because of this, the defense tried to push the following narrative: that a third party must have interfered with the crime scene to frame the defendant. However, the prosecution has discovered another explanation. Because of that, the individual who discovered the body would like to testify to what he saw that night. His eyewitness accounts will clear up what actually happened. Interesting. It was my understanding that the individual in question wanted to remain anonymous. Supposedly, this witness was within the gallery of the trial yesterday. After yesterday's proceedings, he felt that he couldn't stay silent any longer. So that's her plan. But why would the witness change his mind like that? Did Steelwind persuade him, or is something else happening here? Very well. Let's hear from this witness. It's Butler Dude. I think his name was Rhyme something, I forgot. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name is Rise Reginald Rudolph. I am a chauffeur of the Arcane variety. Rise Rudolph, occupation servant. I'm terribly sorry, but I am unfamiliar with that profession. He means to say that he's a carriage driver. Oh, I see. But in any case, it is my understanding that you found the body. Am I correct, Mr. Rudolph? Rudolph appears to be writing something in a notebook. He writes with incredible speed. His pen only touches the paper for maybe a second before it's filled an entire page. Mr. Rudolph? Forgive me. I was merely taking notes on the people in this room. Taking notes? The witness has a certain compulsion to keep a record of every event that he witnesses. I see. Then I assume that we will receive an accurate testimony of how you found the body? Actually, I witnessed much more than that. I saw the crime as it was being committed. I wrote down everything I saw. Yeah, he's gonna use that as an excuse, but I doubt he actually does that. What? That is quite the claim. Oh man, this judge is 80. In a magical setting where, you know, life expectancy is usually much lower, you should probably retire, unless you're the only judge in this entire country. If that's true, then why did you choose to remain silent until now? We had initially concluded that the evidence alone was decisive enough. Therefore, we saw no need at the time for his testimony. However, those circumstances clearly changed during yesterday's trial. There is no way the prosecution wouldn't leverage eyewitness testimony from the start. Something else is happening here. Very well. Mr. Rudolph, please testify to the court about what you saw that night. Witness testimony, let's go! I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. This occurred at 1:28 a.m. Worried that something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. There, I saw the defendant. She was lit by the blue glow of the dining room light. She had stabbed Flintheart McCoy and was channeling magic into her sword. She removed her sword from Flintheart's chest, and as he slowly turned to face her, she stabbed him again from the front. She soon realized I had witnessed her heinous crime. She let the body fall to the ground and fled the scene. Well, we know what the problem there is. She can only use transmutation magic, but the lights were like not functional, so that wouldn't have been the case. But I want to press him for more information anyways. Incredible. If everything occurred as the witness described, then I see no room for debate. Of course, the evidence has always been irrefutable. You don't remember seeing him when you left to look for Celeste, but it was pretty dark. Dark. Celeste, did you see this man last night? No, this is my first time meeting him. And I didn't see him when I ran out of the tavern that night. So, he has to be lying. Does that mean he's the one who killed my dad? She tries her best to hide it, but you can sense her restlessness. It's hard to say right now, but that's definitely a possibility. The defense may now begin their cross-examination. Let's go! Rest. Who was the passenger in your carriage? Well... The identity of the passenger is irrelevant. The witness is the one who actually observed the crime as it occurred. If there is another person at the scene, they may also have crucial testimony. The passenger is under no obligation to testify before the court, and the current witness's account of the events is more than adequate. I agree. I see no reason for Mr. Rudolph to disclose the identity of their client. The defense must present a more valid reason to do so. Okay. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. It occurred at 1:28 a.m. I'm assuming this disturbance was the argument between my client and her father? Yes, I heard two voices. One young female and one gruff male. Presumably, these were the voices of Celeste and Flintheart McCoy. Right, that matches up with what their neighbors heard too. What did you do after hearing this disturbance, Mr. Rudolph? Worried that something was amiss, I walked into the establishment, blah blah blah. You stopped your carriage in the middle of a job? That seems pretty abnormal for a carriage driver. What did your passenger think of this? He had no quarrel with it. What kind of passenger would be okay with stopping mid-drive? The passenger's thoughts on the matter are irrelevant to his testimony, unless you have any hard evidence to prove otherwise. Ugh. Now then, please tell us what you saw in the establishment, Mr. Rudolph. I saw the defendant lit up by blue light. You sound certain that you saw my client and the victim. How are you so sure it was them? Flintheart McCoy and his daughter were well known within the town. Flintheart made himself quite known in the region through his social activism. And young Celeste dresses in a manner that is far wealthier than the townsfolk of Cornhaven. Do you live in the same town as the McCoys? How would you know about this? I don't live here, but my work brings me there quite frequently. The witness's place of residence has no bearing on his testimony. What matters is that he was there when the murder occurred. Why is Steelwind deflecting questions about his personal life? She moved her sword and stabbed him again and again. So you're saying that my defendant stabbed him twice with her sword? Yes, that's exactly what I saw. But there's only one visible wound on the body. If what you say is true, then that means she stabbed him through the same wound? Isn't that extremely improbable? Improbable, but not impossible. It is strange, I'll give you that. But nevertheless, that's what the witness saw happened. She is really reaching with this. But you won't get anywhere unless you can prove that he's lying. Alright, last statement. She ran away, basically. And you let her get away? I'm just a simple carriage driver. I have no way of combating an armed assailant. The witness also saw the defendant using magic. Did you honestly expect a chauffeur to subdue an armed mercenary? You suppose that she has a point there. He must have come up with a detailed story beforehand and wrote it down. His little quirk of writing everything down is the perfect cover for him to read over his notes. Ah, okay, that makes sense. I guess it'd be hard catching him lying if he has a way of keeping his story straight. Actually, it's just the opposite. With all those details, it'll be much easier to find an inconsistency. You just need to find out what that detail is. Alright, let's go. I think it is this. When he said it's lit by the blue light. So we'll present this because those lamp can't be turned on. Objection! Mr. Rudolph, you testified that you saw my client murdering the victim. And you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so? Yes, I could never forget such... Oh wait! This is a scene from the beginning of the game, like the first scene we see. Yes, I could never forget such a grisly sight. That moment was burned into my memory. I see. Well, it's funny that you say that. How so? Because your entire testimony was a complete lie! What? Are you accusing the witness of perjury? Surely you know that such accusations can't be made lightly, Mr. Cuthbert. My accusation is far from baseless. It's quite base, I'll have you know, Prosecutor Steelwind. Take a look at this report. The dining room lights are artificial devices that are powered by an arcane paracel. However, that same arcane paracel was broken during the time of the murder. The dining room light had no energy, and the room would have been pitch black. The witness could not have seen anything, much less a homicide. Wait, I can explain. There's no need, witness. You could have easily seen another source of light. Perhaps one of the McCoys lit a candle because of the blackout. The witness clearly described the source of blue light. A candle or lantern wouldn't emit such a color. A candle or lantern wouldn't emit a color like that. And then the witness was clearly mistaken. And mistaken about the homicide too. Oh my... The witness records everything he sees in his notebook. He even remembers the exact time that each event occurred. So why would he be incorrect about such a clear and obvious detail? No, what the witness saw was clearly some form of magic. And due to the lack of power, it couldn't have been an artificere. It must have been an arcane spell. That's it. What is it, witness? I must have made an incorrect assumption. Please allow me to revise my testimony. What do you think of this, Prosecutor Steelwind? If the witness wants to revise his testimony, then I see no harm in obliging him. And you, Mr. Cuthbert? If he thinks he saw something different, then it'd only be fair to hear him out. He'll tear through each of his lies, no matter what he does. Witness testimony. Let's go. I remember now. Oh, it's just like Ace Attorney, the music's going super fast now. I remember now. Yesterday, it was revealed that Flintheart was killed using magic. I must have seen Flintheart's daughter channeling a magic spell. And that spell was called Mageblade, am I correct? That's it. The blue glow that I saw must have been created by Mageblade. I see. So the blue light that you saw came from the defendant's magic. Mr. Cuthbert, you may proceed with your cross-examination. With pleasure. Actually, I wonder if in my, thing... So we see spells, Mageblade. Oh, okay. While under the effects of this spell, the object emits a yellow radiant glow. Okay. I remember that from the picture of his body, which I don't think we have in our evidence. Huh, that's odd. Just gonna press because I want all the dialogue. Are you changing your testimony based on yesterday's trial? No, I assure you, that's not what I'm doing. But after thinking about it further, I think I finally understand what I saw. I see. Wouldn't that be pretty noticeable and distinct? The witness is of the common folk. Furthermore, the defendant's magical ability wasn't known to many until the night of the murder. What reason would the witness have to think that he was witnessing magic? He would just think that the sword was wreathed wreath in a glow by some other means. That last part is a bit far-fetched, but you can't really refute it right now. The spell was called Mage Blade, am I correct? You seem uncertain about the spell that you saw my client use. How can we trust the rest of your testimony? The witness had no knowledge of the arcane art, I'll grant you that. But it doesn't matter if he was unable to identify the specific spell. The only thing that matters is how he saw it happen. You won't get anywhere unless you prove that he didn't see Mage Blade. That's it. The blue glow I saw must have been created by Mage Blade. You still don't sound so sure of it yourself. I wasn't sure of it at first, but then I remembered that Flintheart was killed using magic. It is so hard to believe that I didn't realize that magic was used when I saw the scene. I suppose not. Not that you actually believe him. He just keeps telling lie after lie. Celeste is trying to keep her composure, but you notice her firmly clenching her fist. He's trying to cover for his mistake. I'm sure he's just making up things on the spot now. He doesn't know how magic works. I bet he barely understands what Mage Blade even does. You're right. There has to be a flaw with his testimony because of that. Alright, let's skip right to it then. So blue glow, present, spells, Mage Blade. Mr. Rudolph, you don't know much about magic, do you? Of course not. Are you trying to say that I should have recognized Celeste's Mage Blade? No, I admit that you probably wouldn't know about Mage Blade, but that's exactly where your mistake was. My mistake? Mr. Rudolph, if you were aware of how Mage Blade works, you would know that the spell emits a yellow radiant glow. Which means that the blue glow you saw couldn't have possibly been Mage Blade. This is ridiculous. I'll grant you that the witness clearly remembers seeing a blue glow. But what significance could such a minor detail have? It's extremely significant, Prosecutor Steelwind. If the witness did see a blue magical glow, he must have witnessed another spell at the scene. Preposterous! You don't have any evidence to back up that claim. That blue light made a large impression on the witness. He wrote it down in his book, and he specifically mentioned the color. There's no way he would be mistaken about something like that. So what did you really see, Mr. Rudolph? Did you see my client at the scene casting a spell that she couldn't have possibly cast? Or did you see another mage at the scene? Well... Your Honor, the defense has no right to accuse the witness like that. Let me remind you that perjury is a crime, Mr. Rudolph. If you are found having lied in your testimony, you will be prosecuted. No, wait, please. Now, this is quite enough of that. Garrick Pierce suddenly steps down from the gallery and walks to the witness stand. He's breaking every possible rule in the book, but no one in the room moves to stop him. The bailiff looks to the judge nervously, but the judge just narrows his eyes and carefully watches Pierce. Pierce, meanwhile, shoves the still flustered Rudolph off the stand and begins addressing the courtroom. What is he even doing here? I will not stand by while you harass my servant. Pierce, we discussed this. There's no need for you to take the stand. And what, pray tell, did they discuss? Nonsense, I have nothing to hide. And if you have done your job properly, I wouldn't have needed to intervene. For the first time, Steelwind doesn't seem to have control of the situation. What is the meaning of this, Miss Steelwind? Who is this man? This is Garrick Pierce, Your Honor. That is Lord Garrick Pierce to you, Steelwind. I am the honorable heir of the Pierce noble house. In any case, I must apologize. I'm afraid that these misunderstandings are entirely my fault. What do you mean? You see, Rudolph wasn't the one who witnessed the crime that fateful night. It was me. I was the one who witnessed the crime. I had the driver report the body so I could remain anonymous. What? Are you saying that you had Rudolph lie for you? I simply dictated to him what I saw and had him repeat that to the law enforcement. It simply wouldn't do for a member of the nobility to appear publicly in court. Lord Pierce, regardless of your intentions, this is a very clear act of perjury. But from the look on the judge's face, you can easily tell that he won't face any actual consequences. I understand. I will accept the consequences of that. But I would be remiss if Rudolph's shoddy testimony allowed the girl to escape her crimes. Please, let me testify as to what I saw that night. Alright. Do you need help digging that hole that you're already digging yourself in? Very well. This is highly irregular, but I believe the court will benefit from hearing your testimony. However, know that this misconduct has hurt your credibility. Very well. Alright, let's go. On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep, so I went on a leisurely carriage ride around Cornhaven. I happened to be passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building. Curious, I stopped my carriage and took a step inside the establishment. Then I saw the scene inside. I saw the defendant stabbing that poor man twice with a sword. Garrick Pierce. He's a member of the nobility. That means he's probably a mage, right? And he's the only other mage that was there that night. Does that mean? No doubt about it. He's the only person that could have left a trace of transmutation on the body. He has to be the mage we're looking for. Sorry, this must be a lot for you right now. Don't worry about me. Focus on taking him down. Cross-examination. Okay, so I find myself unable to sleep, so I went on a leisurely ride. That seems like a strange way to pass time. Not that you believe him for a second. The witness's eccentricities are beside the point. What matters is that he was clearly at the scene. I wouldn't quite put it that way, but nevertheless. I happened to be passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building. I'm guessing this commotion was the argument between my client and the victim? One will conclude that, yes. As we all know, both of them became quite loud during their argument. It's not unreasonable to say that the witness heard them from his carriage. Curious, I stopped my carriage and took a single step into the saddle, blah blah. Oh, we got the map now. If he was at the tavern entrance, that means he was here. Crime scene map, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah, so it was updated, gotcha. You saw the entire scene from the cavern entrance? It would be quite dark considering that the lights weren't operational. Even if my client were using Mage Blade at the time. Of course, I'd forgotten about that detail. I couldn't see what was happening, so I used my magic to illuminate the scene. You used magic at the crime scene? Yes, I remember it clearly. I conjured a blue light to illuminate the scene. That same blue light must have been what my driver saw. I thought that Rudolph didn't witness the crime scene at all. If I had to guess, Mr. Rudolph must have seen that blue light from the carriage. He must have made that detail a part of his testimony earlier. Actually, that makes a lot of sense now that you think about it. Rudolph was so sure that he saw a blue light, it would be strange if he was lying about that. But anyways, which spell did you use to illuminate the crime scene? It was the Conjure Light spell. You got Conjure Light. Lux O. Gesture? None. Duration, 1 hour. Concentration, yes. For the duration of this spell, a mote of magical light appears in the caster's hand. So in his hand. The color of the light is chosen by the caster and can change at will for the spell's duration. This mote of light provides illumination for up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. Man, that's a lot of like D&D specificities. Your Honor, if the witness used the magic at the crime scene, then I'd like for his spell compendium to be added to the court record. I see no reason to evade the witness's privacy over a trivial illumination spell. I agree. The defense would need a stronger reason to requisition the witness's spell compendium. You are right, Your Honor. Your wisdom is truly fitting of your station. Oh, shut up! I use Conjured Light to illuminate the scene. Casting a spell seems like a pretty significant detail to forget. For you, maybe, but for the practiced mage like myself, using magic is as natural as moving my arm. You admit that you wouldn't know what it's like to be a mage. I saw the defendant stabbing the poor man twice. And I assume that you're gonna say that she stabbed him from the opposite sides each time? Of course. Mind you, I have no idea why she would act like that. But can you prove that she didn't do exactly what I described? I suppose not. At least not yet, anyways. Pierce is definitely the real murderer. This means there has to be a lie somewhere in his testimony. He keeps saying that he stood at the entrance the entire time. If he killed my father, then he would have been further in. Right. Is there any way that you can prove that he was further inside the building? Okay, so it's gonna be the one where there was a map, so it's this part. I'm gonna look at my evidence. Oh, wait, I just noticed. It's not important detail, but he's 38, and Flimheart is 52, so like, They have like a 14-year age difference, but I thought it said that they were like friends as kids or something, you know, playing with each other. But maybe I read that wrong. And maybe it's with sister instead. Ah, okay, so this is the thing. Illumination goes up to 15 feet and no further. And judging from the map, you can tell that it's way more than 15 feet. Whoops, wrong thing. The map here shows bop, bop, bop. That's way more than 15 feet. Gotcha. So, we will be presenting, I hope it's a spell, because it could be either.
Objection!
Damn it, it's not. Your Honor, it's clear that the witness's testimony is contradictory. And this piece of evidence proves it. I fail to see how that proves anything, Mr. Cuthbert. Oh, I guess you're right. Oh, no penalty. Huh, alright. Well, I guess it's a map then. Whoops. I thought it would be enough.
Objection!
Your Honor, it's all blah blah. Wait, it's not the map? Oh, whoops, I did the wrong statement. I thought this was a statement where we got the thing where it said that he was really close. But it's probably this one, because he said from the tavern entrance and conjure light, and he clearly saw the scene. Whoops, my bad. Then I'll present the conjure light here.
Objection!
Alright. Lord Pierce, you said that you illuminated the scene from the tavern entrance. And you only took a single step into the building, which, you know, that should have worked for the previous statement. Of course. I remember it very clearly. I stood only at the entrance. In that case, I'd like for you to take a look at the map of the tavern. Beep, beep, beep. If you take a look at this map, that would place you right here where the W is. Am I correct? Oh, of course I was. I do not know what you wish to achieve by having me repeat that fact. Well, I found it interesting that you illuminated the crime scene from all the way back there. Considering that conjure light only illuminates an area within 15 feet. What? Oh man, his shocked face. The spell's range is irrelevant. We've already established the victim would have been illuminated by Mageblade. During his testimony, Lord Pierce clearly stated that he couldn't see what was happening. That's why he cast Conjured Light in the first place. However, Conjured Light doesn't work like a normal source of light. It only provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. If he had stayed at the entrance, his spell wouldn't have done anything to help illuminate the scene. But what does that mean? Lord Pierce, did you illuminate the crime scene or not? Well, I can answer that question for you, Your Honor. Lord Pierce did illuminate the scene of the crime. He illuminated it because he was standing right where it happened. Mr. Cuthbert, are you trying to say that Lord Pierce was that close where the murder occurred? How would that be possible? Well, there's only one way this scenario would make sense, Your Honor. And that would be if Garrick Pierce was the one who murdered Flintheart McCoy. Hold on a moment. This is absurd. I could have easily used a different spell to illuminate the room. And which spell would that be, Pierce? The name escapes me. But I'm not sure which one it was now that I think about it. You idiot. Well, maybe we can figure it out together. While you relinquish your spell compendium to the court. What? This is a clear violation of my privacy. Steelwind, aren't you going to object to this? Oh, look at him, he's like... If you had listened to my instructions, you wouldn't be in this situation. You've made your bed, now lie in it. Oh my gosh. I know she has this expression for like everything, but man, she's just like, oh, well, you done fucked, man. It's all your fault. Steelwind, you treacherous! Bam! That's enough. It appears that the prosecution has no objections. With everything that has occurred, I must ask that Lord Pierce relinquish his spell compendium to the court. Lord Pierce's spell compendium. Clue. Okay, so he has formulas for the following spells. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frost Wave, and Shape Liquid. I'm just gonna call it the P word. The caster creates a simple and harmless visual effect around their hand. This effect will last as long as they maintain their concentration on the spell. Huh. So gesture is a snap of a finger, duration is indefinitely, So it's just a visual thing. But I believe we did hear him snap his fingers. Conjure water. Causes water to magically flow out of the caster's hand. The water will flow so long as the caster maintains concentration on the spell. Okay, concentration. Acquio. Actually, I kind of missed it. What's the pronunciation for this? Oh, no incantation. Got it. Acquio. Outstretched palm, indefinitely, and concentration. Frostwave. Transmutation. No concentration. Outstretch both hands. Duration instant. Anything caught within the range is hit with a blast of extremely cold air. Liquids will be immediately frozen, and organic life will immediately enter stages of hypothermia. Shape, liquid. Transmutation, fic, ag, Point index finger at target, indefinitely, and concentration. While concentrating on the spell, the caster can magically manipulate up to 10 liters of liquid and form it into complex shapes. At any time, the caster can choose to freeze the liquid and solidify its current shape. While frozen, the caster can also choose to make the liquid instantaneously melt. Huh, so point index finger and duration is indefinite. It can form it into complex shapes and freeze it, so maybe that's what is the murder weapon. Is it any liquid or is it just, I need to look at this again. Give me 1 second. 10 liters of liquid, so it doesn't say, but maybe this was the murder weapon. The shattered bottle of lotus juice, and we didn't drop it, but he made the liquid turn into a blade. And we kind of saw it in the, you know, when he killed him. I kind of don't remember it because my memory is pretty bad. Good job, Tyrion. You got a spell compendium. With that, this case is as good as ours. Or is it? She didn't even try to stop you from taking spell compendium. She wouldn't let this happen just to spite Lord Pierce. She definitely still has something up her sleeve. Your Honor, I've looked at these spells in Lord Pierce's compendium. Conjure Light is the only spell that he can cast that would shed a blue light. This renders his testimony and many of his statements false. You practically hear Lord Pierce grinding his teeth. Your Honor, Lord Pierce could very well be a suspect in the murder of Flintheart McCoy. The defense argues that this presents enough reasonable doubt to acquit the defense. I acknowledge that Lord Pierce's actions are quite suspect. However, I will not pass the verdict just yet. There is much more that we need to learn. What? That's not how it works. We prove that there's a reasonable doubt. That should be enough to acquit me, right? In a normal case, maybe, but it's different for this trial. The public won't accept an unsolved homicide involving magic. You know what? That's fair. I guess it's like innocent until proven guilty, except for... Or not innocent until proven guilty, but like reasonable doubt. But because magic is so important in the society and needs to be resolved, or else there's just gonna be more mysteries, they have to resolve it. Unless we can unequivocally prove your innocence, the court will keep drawing out this case. What? But that's not fair. I mean, it's not to say that they're declared innocent or guilty. It's just gonna be longer until they get this right. That's just how the system works. Our court system doesn't exist to exact justice. It exists so that the kingdom can save face. No. However, the court will be suspending the trial of Celeste McCoy until further notice. That is, until Lord Pierce can be investigated as a possible suspect. Oh.
Objection!
Oh, okay. I was like, we're not gonna get another investigation. I was pretty sure this gotta end with this recording session. A possible suspect? The very idea of that is preposterous, Your Honor. Damn it. You knew she was planning something. Let's revisit the basic facts of this case, shall we? Flintheart McCoy was murdered using a blade with a transmutation spell active on it. Mr. Cuthbert, why don't you tell me the spells that Lord Pierce knows? Alright, his spells are Prestigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frostwave, and Shape Liquid. You've realized it too, haven't you? Lord Pierce doesn't know any transmutation spells that can be channeled through a solid object. What? That can't be right. You're right. You're absolutely right, Lady Steelwind. I couldn't have possibly committed the murder. I see. With that in mind, that would leave the defendant as the only possible killer. But he was the only other mage there. He has to be the real murderer. But he doesn't know any transmutation spells that can affect a solid object. We can't prove that he stabbed the victim while casting magic. Wait a minute. How did he do it then? Oh! She's right. How did he do it? If there are any traces of transmutation magic on the wound, then Flintheart was definitely stabbed by something magical. But none of his transmutation spells can affect the steel blade. Does that mean that he used something else? Pop! The defense did cast some doubt on the witness's testimony. Nevertheless, I must conclude that he could not have possibly committed the murder. With that in mind... Please wait, Your Honor. We still can't conclude that Lord Pierce couldn't have committed the crime. What are you on about? Lady Steelwind said it herself, you commoner. I don't know any spells that can be channeled through a metal blade. He's right, which can only mean one thing. You didn't use a metal blade, did you? What nonsense is this? The autopsy report clearly states that the wound was created by a blade. If he didn't channel magic through a blade, how could he have possibly committed the crime? Yes, your claim seems quite contrary to the facts thus far, Mr. Cuthbert. Which spell did Lord Pierce use to commit murder? Alright, and we got the shape liquid. You see, Your Honor, Garrick Pierce didn't kill the victim using a sword. He killed him using an object shaped exactly like a sword. What? I'm afraid I don't quite understand, Mr. Cuthbert. I'd like for the court to take a look at Lord Pierce's spell compendium. Garrick Pierce knows a seemingly insignificant spell called Shape Liquid. With it, he can control a body of water and shape it into any complex shape he wants. Then he can freeze that liquid, maintaining its current shape. A shape like a sword. What? No, is it possible that he... What do I have to say for yourself, Lord Pierce? Wait, what do I have to say for yourself? You mean what do you have to say for yourself? What do I have to say? Pierce's breathing is becoming more frantic. He's clearly not used to being put in a corner like this. You can see his stress and frustrations emanating through the eye of Horus. You have him now. Time for the finishing blow. Oh, we got the organs. Argument. I'll tell you exactly what I have to say, you commoner. I'm not the one on trial here. We're here because of that bastard child didn't know her place. Oh my god. Oh man, I really like the song. She's just a peasant, yet she still learns the arcane art. And look what happened. I saw the murder, I witnessed everything. That girl used a holy art to murder her father in a fit of rage. I mean, you didn't see it because you didn't cast the spell, right? I saw the murder, I witnessed everything. So do we just do the conjure light thing again? And how, pray tell, did you see everything? If you recall, you testified that you only took a single step inside the inn, but you would have needed to be within 15 feet to see my client with conjure light. This again? If you're going to keep treading on that one detail, then I admit it, I stepped further into the inn. I kept that detail out of my testimony. All because I knew you'd use it to cast suspicion on me. Lord Pierce. But you didn't just keep that detail from your testimony, did you? You testified the opposite. That makes you guilty of committing perjury. No, I mean... you miserable wretch. Perjury by Garrick Pierce has been added to your notes. He has openly admitted to committing perjury in this courtroom. His lies haven't gone unnoticed. And let's not stop there. For your story to be true, you would have needed to be within 15 feet of my client. According to your testimony, my client had just finished committing a murder. Wouldn't she have noticed you? If you're that close, then you would have surely been close enough to apprehend her. So why didn't you? Don't you have a duty to your citizens? Shut up! Shut your dirty peasant mouth! That woman was armed! I have no reason to put my life in danger! I was terrified when I saw her holding that bloody sword. She was wielding her sword after the murder. My life was in danger. I mean, it's gonna be this, right? Because it was left in the body of the victim. But one thing I want to mention before continuing, I really like this last bit because in Ace Attorney's games, it's usually kind of like, it's not as epic because you don't really have like a very quick, fast-paced one-on-one confrontation. It's usually the same Ace Attorney gameplay where you're just like, oh, here's a contradiction, and you go through more dialogue. Oh, here's another contradiction. But this is like, as a last hurrah, you're just like, It feels like you're fighting the dude. I'm gonna present this. No, he claims that Celeste was holding her sword after the murder. But with his proposed sequence of events, that shouldn't be possible. Is there a piece of evidence that proves that Celeste couldn't have been holding the sword? Oh, sorry, that was not specific enough. It was a crime scene picture because the sword was in his body. But that can't be right, can it, Lord Pierce? This photo of the crime scene shows that the sword was left in the victim's body. How could she still be wielding her sword if she left it there? What? Damn you! Damn you! Steelwind, why aren't you saying anything? What? Prosecutor Steelwind has lost her usual air of confidence. You find it strange, though. Even when you had the advantage, she always maintained her usual poise. Lord Pierce, please, pull yourself together. How can I remain calm when this charlatan is trying to frame me? This is a complete travesty of our justice system. I came here to reveal the truth and testify against that criminal. And what do I get instead? Slander from the lowly defense attorney. So, to contradict, I came here to reveal the truth and testify against the criminal. I guess that's the reason why they gave this as evidence, because no, he just openly admitted that he committed perjury. You talk about justice, but you just committed several acts of perjury to twist the outcome of this trial. You're clearly not acting in good faith. You don't care about justice, you just want to further your agenda. So admit it, Pierce. You created a makeshift sword using shaped liquid, and you used it to impale Flintheart. You shoved my client's sword into the wound, while the remnants of the real murder weapon evaporated. It was a perfect crime, wasn't it? What? Lord Pierce? My apologies, Your Honor. It's just that I realized something absolutely hilarious. Oh, what? Has he finally lost his mind? The defense puts forward an interesting theory. But there's only one problem with it. And what's that? I think you said it yourself. You shoved Celeste's sword into the wound, while the remnants of the real murder weapon evaporated. It was a perfect crime, wasn't it? You see, it would have been a perfect crime. Because any evidence to support that theory would have been evaporated with the frozen blade. What? No! He's right. If you used an ice blade to kill Flintheart, it would have evaporated by now. Then that means there'd be nothing left of the murder weapon. I feel like my voice for him, as he goes insane, is slowly changing into the judge's voice. You spun quite a tale here today. But in the end, you don't have a shred of evidence to support it, do you? You have nothing on me. Isn't there anything we can do? You become quiet. Why isn't he saying anything? Is it really hopeless? Tyrion! Well, all it takes is one look at that expression on your face. Any worry she has instantly disappears because she realizes the expression on your face. No, you're confident. It's the same expression that you made every time you defeated her. What is this? You glare at me all you want. It won't change the fact that you've lost. I despise people like you. You twist the system to serve your own ends. You trample on the lives of innocent people. But as long as I'm here, I will never let that happen again.
Naught can remain concealed.
Naught can remain concealed. Empowered I. Oh my god, what did I just do? Your head feels like it's about to burst. The pain is unbearable and overwhelming. But at the same time, you feel an extreme sense of clarity. As if you can see more than you could before. I can't believe that peasant has pushed me this far. Once again, you see Pierce's thoughts through the eye of Horus. But this sensation feels different from how it usually is. It's more intense and potent this time. It's almost as if you can do more than just read his surface thoughts. Empowered Eye. You've activated the Empowered Eye. With it, you'll be able to do more than just see the witness's thoughts. You'll also be able to affect what they think about, project items into the Pierce's mind to evoke thoughts from within him. You can implant a thought into him? Wow, okay. You can do like the memes or like the imprinting from The World Ends With You. You'll want to project items that make him think about the murder. Evoking the right thoughts will raise your insight. Once the insight gauge is filled, You'll have everything you need to implicate him. Project. I guess it'll be the bottle because that's the thing that I'm kind of cute. I kind of like how. Actually, no. I'll mention this at the end of the case, but it's probably the bottle. Huh? Why am I thinking of such a thing? That piece of evidence didn't really invoke any useful thoughts from him. Maybe you'll see something if you project pieces of evidence related to the murder. Maybe like the picture? Even now, that image is still lingering in my mind. I didn't expect this experience to have such an effect on me. This doesn't give you anything that you can use. You try something else. Oh wow, you have a lot. What about my attorney's badge? Huh? What am I thinking of? Okay, that's fair. Okay, so it could just be like anything. We'll do his sister. Huh? Why am I thinking of such a thing? Oh, okay. Probably just a sword. What an ornate sword. I wonder how a commoner like her obtained such a thing. I wonder if the Inquisition will let me have it once the girl is convicted. That doesn't give you anything useful. You try something else. I wonder if there will be a penalty for this in the future. Right now I'm just kind of messing around. Maybe the autopsy? Nope. The light? Nope. Maybe it's a profile. Or maybe a spell. What if you do shape liquid? After all the trouble I went through, I can't believe the lawyer figured out the spell I used. Well, no matter. It's not if there's any evidence I used it. I'm lucky that old fool had that bottle of water with him. Come on! Okay. Fair, but like, this is one of the things I never really liked about Ace Attorney games, is that like you really have to follow the developer's line of logic, and even if you do, you always have to present it the right way. Because I've mentioned this before, but like I was like, oh, it's probably the bottle because that's a thing that he used to kill the dude. But I presented the bottle, and he's like, no, why am I thinking about this? Oh, and then when I talk about this, he's like, oh, okay, let me think about it. Wait, a bottle? Well then, as riveting as this has been, I believe it's time for me to take my leave. Now, wait a minute, Pierce. What is it now, you wretch? I'll say it as many times as you need to hear. There is no evidence of a liquefied weapon at the crime scene. Bottle, go! You're right, Pierce. If you did use shaped liquid on a body of water, the murder weapon would have evaporated entirely. Ah, as it seems that you finally gotten the fact through your thick head. Bravo! But let's not get ahead of ourselves, Pierce. What if you didn't use shaped liquid on a body of water? What if it was another type of liquid? What are you going on about? Pierce, shaped liquid doesn't just work on water. It works on all kinds of liquid. That shattered bottle contained the liquid that you cast your spell on, didn't it? You show him the picture of the shattered bottle of lotus juice. That bottle! Pierce, I found the shattered bottle on the ground near the victim's body. I wonder what caused it to shatter. You must have decided to use any liquid that you could find. Luckily for you, the victim was holding the perfect quantity of liquid in his hands. I wonder, Lord Pierce, if we had someone analyze the broken pieces of this bottle, would we find traces of transmutation magic? You little! That still proves nothing! So what if there are traces of magic on a shattered bottle? You still don't have a murder weapon! I wasn't finished, Pierce. What? You see, the liquid contained in this bottle wasn't water. It was soda! So, what difference does that make? A blade of ice made of water would have evaporated entirely. A blade made of ice out of soda would leave a puddle of dry residue. No, it can't be! I wondered why there is such a circular trace of magic under the body. If we check the outline of that trace, I bet we find a dry puddle of soda residue. That would prove that you use your magic on the soda. That's your oh my god. Oh man, there's a lot of talking in this. There's your murder weapon, Pierce. And that's checkmate. Bailiff, tell Orem to analyze the crime scene at once. You must determine if this puddle of soda residue exists. The time window to find traces of magic is closing. So, we had our team search the crime scene for that soda puddle. I can't really believe it, but we found it. In fact, The outline of the dry soda lines up exactly with the outline of the traces of transmutation magic. Huh! We checked the broken bottle too. There are traces of transmutation magic on it as well. There's no doubt about it. Someone used magic on that soda. I see. Thank you, Orem. Please escort Lord Pierce back to the stand. What do you have to say for yourself, Pierce? What do you think you've accomplished here today? Do you honestly think you can indict me? I'm an aristocrat from the highest echelons of our society. The fool of a man was an insurgent. He was a threat to society. I did my civic duty by removing him.
Objection!
Oh, she's like, oh man, I can't wait to prosecute your case. Bailiff, please escort the witness to a holding cell. Steelwind? First-degree murder is punishable by execution, Lord Pierce. I suggest you remain silent, lest you incriminate yourself further. What? You can't be serious. Shut your insidious mouth. What? Well, what are you all waiting for? Oh man, is this her theme? It's pretty good. The music for this game has been pretty solid, to be honest. Take him away. Yes, take him away at once. Hey, we did it! I can't believe it! We actually won! Tyrion, It's all she can do to hold back her tears. You don't need to say anything. Your face says it all. Thank you. You've more than exceeded my expectations today. It's Timora. I'll be honest. When I realized that the murder weapon evaporated, I thought the case was shot. I can't believe you were able to turn that around. It was just luck. Actually, I want to see evidence. I was gonna mention this, but sometimes if actually no. I was gonna say this about, I guess, the profiles and spells, but I like how they provided spells that we were not going to reference. Conjure water, not relevant. Frostwave, not relevant. Not relevant. It's just to give us choices, to make us think more. I guess you can't really say the same for clues. I think we used every clue. But one thing in Ace Attorney that is like a normal thing is that you pretty much will use every piece of evidence you have in your inventory at one point. I kind of like not having that because sometimes you just want to have, more of a challenge, I guess. Because sometimes you just think, oh, this is in my inventory, I'm gonna use it eventually. So eventually you have like one piece of evidence you didn't use, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna have to use this. It was just luck. If you had used water, we would have been done for. It had nothing to do with luck. You were able to deduce which liquid he used. And you did it by looking at just a few shards of broken glass. Your skills of deduction never cease to amaze me. That's not exactly true. But with Celeste there, you can't tell her about your new ability. You all are quite lively. There's no need for such hostilities. Though I wouldn't expect any less from the Hound of the Eye Taker. Oh! Wait, what did she mean by that? You glance at Miss Timora, but when she meets your gaze, she immediately looks away. Hound of the Eye Taker. She looks like she's focusing, almost as if to protect herself from a certain eye. I must admit, I was hoping to test my blade against you directly. However, your protege proves to be a worthy adversary. Thank you? Is this some kind of game to you? You talk about trials as if there's some kind of competition. Your actions can almost condemn an innocent woman to death. Our system operates by having two powers of opposition. When those powers are balanced, justice prevails. Oh man, I gave them voices that are too similar! Make no mistake, your victory today was just our systems working as intended. Ha! Working as intended? You know very well our systems only exist to protect your people. I know. What? In any case, it looks like we'll be facing each other more frequently in the future. I look forward to doing battle with you again, Tyrion Cuthbert. Arya Steelwind has been, honestly, she feels kind of like Edgeworth, where she's trying to do her best to just throw your arguments to the ground. But post game 1 Edgeworth, where she's like a challenge, but she's also trying to do her best to, poke at any argument that could possibly be a reason as to why the victim could have done it. I mean, not the victim, the defendant could have done it. She's trying to work towards something you know, to better society, I guess. But she is just tackling it from a different angle than we are, like Edward. What a strange girl. Well, that kind of kills the mood, doesn't it? Not at all. I think we should celebrate. Oh, what did you have in mind? There's this amazing restaurant in the upper quarters of the capital city. They usually only serve nobles, but they'll let anyone if they have enough gold. Wait, do we have enough gold? Of course we do. Don't worry about the details. I'll handle everything. Wait, just how much money does Miss Timora make? She was like, can she even afford a lawyer? And so began my journey into the world of law and magic. Our justice system is rotten to its core, and I have many trials ahead. Regardless, I'll keep fighting on to get justice for every one of my clients. Episode end. Yeah, we completed the first case. The cold-hearted aristocrat. This feeling, I know it. I think it's the girl that we saw in our vision. His radiant soul has finally awakened. I can't believe it. I've been waiting for so long. I can't wait for the day when I can see his eyes draped in agony. Alright. Cool, that was the first case of the game. It was pretty solid, especially for an intro case. I don't really have much to say because I think I said most of what I want to say. Compared to a lot of first cases for Ace Attorney, it was pretty solid. I want to say it was probably better than, honestly, in my opinion, more than half of them. There are definitely some noteworthy intro cases in Ace Attorney that I really love. But this one, there are also some pretty bad ones, I'm not gonna lie. And this one was honestly pretty solid. And I was really surprised that there was an investigation, but it helped with really getting to know the characters of this case a lot better. I feel like I have a good grasp of Steelwind, a good grasp of, you know, Celeste and her father and her family. I got to know Orym a lot more and how he wants to fight for justice, but he has a huge grudge against mages. And there's also that like underlying intrigue with, you know, what Timora's job is and what she's trying to achieve. So as a first case, I feel like it was pretty good. I know that the first case was available as a demo, so all those people that, you know, want to try it, feel free, even though by the time you see this, you probably already know all the answers. But the magic system, like the spells, are pretty cool and pretty fun to use. I noticed that there are a lot of D&D-isms with, you know, the rules for certain spells because I played a little bit of D&D. Nowhere near to say that I'm an expert, not even close. I still have trouble making my own character sometimes. But you notice that in D&D, a lot of the things are relatively well defined. There is still room for like comprehension or like wiggle room for, you know, understanding how certain spells work. But for the most part, spells usually think through it pretty well, and there are like a lot of rules and revisions to what certain things can do. Usually, if it says it, you can do it, but anything out of what is in the description, usually it's like, no, you can't do that. So using the spells in action was actually really fun and really cool. Yeah, I look forward to doing the next case. I'm surprised. If I do a load game, you can see my thing again. Ah, I see. So each case is basically its own game. It doesn't take you to the next one. What you do is you click new game and you click the next case. And I assume that you can actually start from any case. Here we see The Walking Dead. Oh no, copyright. The Origins of Horus, Severed Ties, and Attorney of the Arcane. Alright, well, we'll tackle Case 2, The Walking Dead, next time. And until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!